Hello, welcome to the Quinta Book Fest Revisited. Since we were unable to host Book Fest 2021 here at the library, we thought we'd reconnect with previous panelists to see what they've been up to and talk about their latest projects. I spoke with HelenKay Dimon about what she's been reading lately, her debut book under her pseudonym Darby Kane called Pretty Little Wife, a very twisty domestic thriller, and what she's working on right now. So get comfy and please enjoy the segment of Book Fest Revisited. All right. Well, hello, HelenKay. Thank you so much for joining me and for being able to chat with me. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
So it's been 2 years since we've seen you. What, besides your work, which we'll get into, what have you been up to this past year?
Has it really been 2 years? I'd like time.
Yeah, because you came 2019, our first Book Fest.
Time just kind of slides by.
It goes by so fast. Yes.
I lost all of last year. So other than that, pretty much just trying. The good thing is I live, in San Diego. So I, have been able to spend some time outside, some time reading, and I had no excuse not to do my work.
Well, that's good. Speaking of reading, what have you enjoyed lately? What kind of books? I follow your Instagram, and I know you're always posting about the latest thrillers and stuff. So what has been super fun for you lately?
One of the things I loved a locked room thriller. You know what I mean? Like everybody is trapped somewhere. Like they're trapped on an island, they're trapped at a ski resort, they're whatever. And there have been so many good locked room kind of Agatha Christie and Then There Were None feeling books out. It's like Shiver by Ali Reynolds. She was a professional snowboarder, so and the book has people who are snowboarders in it. So, it's kind of this interesting world I know absolutely nothing about.
Yeah, that's cool.
So yeah, her and Lucy Foley, I don't, maybe it's a trapped sensation. There's something about it that I'm like, I can relate. I like books.
Yeah. I definitely feel like I've been reading a bit of horror and listening. What am I listening to right now? We Hear Voices by Evie Green. Oh, creepy, yeah. And it's in a pandemic kind of setting, and it's like I probably shouldn't like this, but I'm really liking this right now. So it's been fun.
We're all mood readers, and we just don't realize it, right?
Yeah. And speaking of books, let's talk about Pretty Little Wife. Hey. So, as readers will see, it has the name Darby Kane on it. Can you explain why you chose to write under a different name for your thriller? Because you usually do romance, romantic suspense, and...
Well, and all of the books before this have been contemporary romance or mostly romantic suspense. And when you write romance, and readers of romance, they have expectations that no matter what happens, no matter what you put these people through during the book, like throw boulders at them, blow them up, no matter what, that they're going to have some kind of happy ending where you feel as if, it doesn't necessarily mean walking down the aisle, but you feel as if you close the book and you're like, they're going to be okay.
Yeah.
You can't make that promise when you write a domestic thriller, because the whole point is they're not okay. Nothing's okay. So when I decided, I really had always wanted to write a thriller. I've been a mystery suspense thriller reader since I was this big. That's what my mom read. That's what was in the house. It was really important to me that I send a message so that readers who need that happy ending, like they need that satisfying ending, would know I am not promising it in a Darby Kane book. When it comes to, it's a different type of book. There probably won't even be any kind of romance in it, etc. So so I took the different name, which has been interesting. I went to sign my first Darby Kane book and I'm like, HelenKay, okay, all right, that's gonna be a learning curve.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, I bet. So was it a pretty or relatively easy transition into doing thrillers, since you've done more a lot of romantic suspense? Was that kind of not too hard of a transition?
It is very different. When you write romantic suspense, it is the kind of the danger component and the romance component are so tightly bound
Mm-hmm.
that you're throwing danger at them, which in a way kind of brings them together faster than it would in normal. Like in normal life, you probably don't fall in love in 72 hours, right? Like
Yeah.
forever. So it's kind of like, I think of the movie Speed,
Yeah.
with Sandra Bullock and Keanu Reeves.
Yes.
Like, it's like the high intensity brings them together, and it may have been forever until they found each other. It's a very different feel when you're writing domestic thrillers. It's like romance is, how do I bring these people together? Domestic thriller is, how can I literally drive everything apart, right? I don't have any sense of wanting people to be happy in a domestic thriller, right? It's a different kind of, it's like a justice kind of feel, it's a completion kind of feel, it's a much different feel. So I write it a little different. I mean, all of the stuff I learn while writing romantic suspense, which I still love and still would like to write, about craft, that's all the same. Writing is writing. It's kind of how you put it together, like how you put the pieces together, is different when I write a domestic thriller. I'm not sitting in my office right now, because in my office, there's a huge whiteboard behind me that has my current book, like all the pieces and all of this writing. And, I sat down and I'm like, well, that's not going to work. We need to switch rooms. I didn't have, it's a very different kind of plotting when I do a romantic suspense versus a domestic thriller.
Okay. Do you want to give our readers a little preview about what Pretty Little Wife is about? It's so good.
I know. I love the title. I love the title because she's not. She's, you get in your head a vision of what a pretty little wife would look like, and on the outside, she looks like that.
Yeah.
And nothing about her is what it seems. And whenever anybody asks me about this book, I say, look, the whole point of the book is, shouldn't a dead husband stay dead? Because that's not a spoiler. It's on the back cover copy. You can probably see it like at the tagline at the beginning. She kills him. That's not a question. Or she thinks she did. His body disappears. And so the book is not really a whodunit. The book is, why did she do it? What happened? And what is the kind of bigger story of what drove this woman, who everybody is like, oh, isn't she pretty? Isn't she, she's kind of mysterious, she's aloof, drove her to do this incredible thing, which was absolutely fun to write.
It was so much fun to read. I listened to it and I was just like, let's go as fast as I can, but like still being able to process it. And I was like, it was just so much fun. And so many layers, and just when you think you're like, yeah, it's going to be this person or whatever, like this person that was involved in this or whatever, like there's a new twist, and it's like, well, that just blew my theory out of the water. And I just really appreciated how much it was about the women. Like, yes, the husband is the victim, but it's very much centered around the women, whether they're the law enforcement, the victims, suspects, whatever. It's just about them, and I really appreciated that.
And I would say in a lot of ways, the least interesting person in the entire book is the dead husband. Don't say poor dead husband; he deserves to be dead. But the dead husband. That's all on purpose. I grew up reading suspense and thrillers, so at the time, it was a hugely male author field, right? Like, you read John Grisham, you read James Patterson, and every once in a while, it'd be like Patricia Cornwall or somebody would have one, but it felt like way more male dominated. And so a lot of times what happened was the books, even if it's about this incredible survivor type victim, it really focused on the bad guy and the male police officer and all of those kind of things, which is fine, but that's not what I wanted to write. And I think over the last, 5, 6, 7, 8 years, there's been like a tremendous number of female thriller writers writing female focused, switching the focus just a tiny bit. Yeah. And I think those books are extraordinary. Like it's just a window into something different. And when it was time, Lila is the protagonist in this book. She's the wife. And when it was time to pick kind of, I'm like, her husband goes missing. I don't want this to be a police procedural, but clearly law enforcement has to get involved at some point.
Yeah.
And I was like, who would be the best foe for her? And I'm like, a strong woman would be the best. Like, she wouldn't be all that scared of a big tough male detective, because she has this certain look and she has this way of whatever. But going against somebody who was strong and smart and savvy and had kind of kicked her way up to the top, that is like her biggest nightmare. Yeah. So to be able to kind of have those two strong women on opposite sides, yet reluctantly respect each other.
Yes.
Was great to play with.
That was, so much fun. It reminded me of, I haven't read the books, but the show Killing Eve.
Yes.
That kind of cat and mouse game, but there's a certain mutual understanding between the two of them, and they just sort of get each other. And it was so much fun to read and to see Ginny and Lila's interactions, and get each of their thoughts was really, really fun. Good. So I love this, and I can't wait to recommend this to all of our readers. Great. Yeah. So what's next for either your HelenKay Dimon or your Darby Kane?
I just finished my second Darby Kane book, literally 2 days ago. I finished writing it.
Woo!
So this is kind of the week of making sure it makes sense. And that book's called, and I think the title's going to stick. It's called The Replacement Wife, and it comes out in December. And it's if kind of my working idea behind Pretty Little Wife was, shouldn't a dead husband stay dead? For The Replacement Wife, it's what do you do if there's a killer at the dining room table? And it's like this very nice woman living this very nice life, and then she's convinced that her brother-in-law is a killer.
Okay. Wow, that's gonna be fun.
As you do.
That cousin. There's something about that cousin.
Exactly. Thanksgiving, you're like, oh, okay.
Well, I can't wait for that. Look forward to that in December. Before I let you go, where can readers find you or info on your books? And is there anything else you want to mention or promote? They can go to either www.HelenKayDimon.com or Darby Kane. I have a separate kind of holding page. It sits on my HelenKay. And that way you can see what's happening under either name. And you can also sign up for just a feed that will, when something new comes out, will send you an email and let you know. Awesome. Great. Okay, well, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to speak with me. I really look forward to The Replacement Wife, and I know readers are going to love Pretty Little Wife. It's awesome. And we'll be in touch, and we'll stay in touch, and best wishes for this new year. Or 2 months in, which we're almost 3 months in, which is hard to believe. But that's unbelievable. Yeah. But you take care, and thank you again for speaking with me. Thanks so much for having me. All right. Bye. Thanks for watching our BookFest Revisited series. See below for links to the author's social media pages and links to our catalog if you want to request any of their titles. Want to be notified when our newest videos come out? Click or tap on the red subscribe button. Happy reading!